Do you like books? Do you like sports? Do you like books about sports? Do you think I'm wearing pants right now? Here's some books about sports. Mostly on account of my having this face and this body, people are often surprised to find out I'm not much of a sports fan. I don't dislike sports, I just don't follow them, or play them, or understand them. I'm just not much of a sports guy. In fact, if I were to rank all the sports in terms of my level of enjoyment, it'd be like basketball, then like water polo or something like Tetris. Cornhole is, honestly, anything I can play with a beer in my hand. But I do have a stack of sports books, some that I've read, some that I haven't read. And if you're wondering why a guy who doesn't play sports would have books about sports, I'll have you know I've also read books about space, and I'm not an astronaut. First up, who's afraid of a large black man? Put your hands down. The question is rhetorical. This is Charles Barkley's second book. If you don't know who Charles Barkley is, he's a very famous actor. He's also a chef. This book came out in 2005, and it's essentially a collection of conversations on various topics with various people. Topics discussed range from race and politics to business and sports, and the people he discusses these things with include Barack Obama, Tiger Woods, George Lopez, Ice Cube, Samuel L. Jackson, Morgan Freeman, and a host of others. I've not read this cover to cover, but I have bounced around the different interviews. It's mildly entertaining, easy reading, worth flipping through. It makes you remember what life was like in 2005. This next one I read way back in my 20s. This is Bad as I Wanna Be by the one and only Dennis Rodman. I love Dennis Rodman. In 1996, the Chicago Bulls were in the finals against the Seattle Supersonics. I was 11 years old, and I remember watching Game 6 with my family. And I remember listening to my parents and my grandparents talk badly about Dennis Rodman. He's so ugly. He's so weird. Look at that crazy hair. Look at all those tattoos. He has such a bad attitude. He's a disgrace to the sport, so on and so forth. All the while I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I want to be like that guy. This book came out in 1996, and I have vivid memories of standing next to my father in the bookstore staring at the back cover thinking, oh my God, he's naked. That's so weird. Yeah, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's really weird though. I know, but God, it's cool. I was intrigued by Dennis Rodman, and I still am. This is an underrated book. It dives into who Dennis Rodman is as a person, the lens through which he views the world. The very first page opens up with him in a pickup truck holding a shotgun contemplating suicide, and then he goes on to date Madonna. What more do you want from a 5-time champion? Speaking of Dennis Rodman and the 1996 Bulls, the next book I have is 11 Rings by Phil Jackson. This is one of those books I picked up for a while, read about half of it, thoroughly enjoyed it, and then for whatever reason never finished it. But from what I remember, it is absolutely worth revisiting, and I plan to. On the surface, this is a sports memoir, but it's so much more than that. It touches on psychology, spirituality, meditation, philosophy, even sociology and humanism. Looking back, I probably wasn't in the right headspace for such a book, and I think I'll get a lot more out of it now. And yes, he does talk a lot about Dennis Rodman and finally being able to get through to him when everyone else in the league had labeled him uncoachable. I highly recommend this even if you're not all that into sports. Up next, we have Soul of a Butterfly. This came out in 2003. It's essentially the autobiography of Muhammad Ali. It's not a comprehensive biography, but it does touch on some of his most notable life achievements. It was written in collaboration with his daughter, and it includes some of her poetry. I read this back in high school, and I do remember enjoying it. Speaking of high school, the next book I have not read, but I did steal it from my high school library, and I went to a Christian high school, so it's kind of like I stole it from God himself. This is Jackie Robinson, a biography by Arnold Rampersad. Arnold Rampersad. I'd rather be Ramper Glad myself. I'm sorry. I don't know much about this. I just know that it's one of many books about Jackie Robinson's life. This one came out in 1997, and it has the name and address of my high school stamped on the first page. Orangewood Adventist Academy, 13732 Clinton Street, Garden Grove, California, 92843. Don't send your kids there. No, I'm kidding. Couple more for you. This is Michael Lewis's Moneyball. This came out in 2003. It's about the Oakland A's and how upper management went about putting together a winning team on a relatively meager budget. I got through about 2/3 of this, and then I watched the movie starring Brad Pitt, and I never revisited the book. I do recommend it if you're into baseball, specifically if you're into the business of baseball. Speaking of baseball, next up is one I'm actually dying to read. It's on my TBR for later this year. This is The Boys of Summer by Roger Kahn. This came out way back in 1972, and from what I gather, it's as much a coming-of-age story as it is sports history. It touches on the author's childhood in Brooklyn, New York, which I'm all over, and then goes on to talk about the history of the Brooklyn Dodgers up to 1955 when they won the World Series. It then goes on to track the lives of some of the players as they age. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. I read the first 10 pages in the store before before deciding to buy it. And coming from someone who's not all that into sports, this is the kind of book that makes me want to get into sports. This book is America. You read this and you immediately smell freshly cut grass. It makes you want to chew tobacco and spit it in the umpire's face. You read this, you want to shotgun a beer and eat a hot dog outside. The prose is beautiful. It's like reading a novel, honestly. I really can't wait to read this later this year. If you've read it, let me know what you think. I do have one honorable mention. I just finished reading this, actually. This is Miracle in the Andes by Nando Parrado. This is the true and horrifying story of a young Chilean rugby team whose plane crashes in the Andes and the lengths to which they go in order to survive. It's a good, quick little read. I do recommend. The reason it's an honorable mention is because saying this is a book about rugby is like saying Schindler's List is a movie about trains. It's not about trains. It's not about rugby. They mention rugby a little bit in the beginning. So that's all. Those are all my sports books. If you read any of those and you have an opinion on them, feel free to share. And if you know of a book you think I'd enjoy based on those books, feel free to let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you will, share if you dare. Thank you for watching.